What up, Two Talon? You watching the video game awards too?
The Shadow had changed Jules Marmont into a hostile, paranatural entity. That made everything simpler. No arrest, no paperwork. I could put him down like the monster he was. Sublevel 3.
First door on the left, last door on the right.
No.
I'm more importanter? Bummer. I was gonna have you tell me if anything cool happened.
Water dripped from the ceiling as Diana stared at the folders stacked on her workstation. Each one was a branch of research. Drip. Some were thin, some thick. They represented years of her life, her work, dissecting the act of creation and examining the bloody pieces. Bringing in live subjects had been her idea. Drip. Bureau leadership denied their request. But after HQ went into lockdown, she took advantage of the chaos and got her artists. Jules had whined about the optics. Diana ignored him. Now in her office below the waterline of Cauldron Lake, she considered how to proceed. Jules was convinced the page they had found would come true. It promised disaster. A situation out of control. Impossible. Diana was always in control. Drip. Drip. She needed answers. She needed to quantify, to define, to control.
You finished Secret Level today? That's a lie, because not all the episodes are available. Weird. Nope.
Jules' team has found new pages written by Wake. He must have gotten Rudolph Lane painting again. His bullshit pedestrian methodology cannot produce results before mine. I have to go faster, no matter the cost. We're still behind our projections. The more the machines can produce, the closer we can calibrate them to Wake's style. But proper calibration takes a lot of raw material, and production is slow. No. We're changing directions. The hypothesis remains unchanged. Imitating Wake's writing style will allow us to generate art capable of linking with the threshold. Our live subject should match Wake's style much faster. People can be calibrated just like a machine. You simply have to push the right buttons.
To use art with the power, the shadow, we must first define art. To use art with the power... Oh, of. They left off the word of. To use art with the power of the shadow, we must first define art. Of is right there. Jesus. Does a critic define what is art? Where do we find critics? Kidnap/lure in critics? Or the audience? Are we the audience? Must we like the art? What kind of role of an art... What is the role of an artist? Who is an artist? If you believe you are an artist, are you one? Do you need to be good? Does quality matter? You finished the first 8 episodes. Okay. Yeah, got him. Define an artist. A drug-using bum? Often wears a turtleneck and drinks red wine. Left-wing political views. Danger if left-wing politics made real by the shadow. Any right-wing artists? Not for abstract art or poems. So now we need to go to sub-level 3. I'm sorry, sub-level 2. This is sub-level 3. Bro, I didn't realize you were gonna... Come out that fast? Fuck off.
Lane was found dead in his cell this morning. It's an unfortunate setback. But when a door is closed, a window is opened. I believe that's the saying. Lane may be gone, but he left us with a goodbye present. A final piece of art. This piece is different. It's raw emotion, pure truth. he put everything he had into this one. Literally. Every reading we take is off the charts. This is what we have been waiting for. It is the key. I will achieve what no one has before me. Not darling, that arrogant shit. Not my selfish harpy or the wife.
So, we have a painter and a painting that can talk. Clearly connected. But Lane was dead before any of this even happened.
I never needed any of them. The fools will finally see me for the genius I am.
Finally! Something works on these bastards.
From Jules to Project Ramna's staff, status of Project Arbutus. As head of the research of the Lake House, it is important that I am informed of all proceedings in the facility. Since the other Dr. Marmont is failing to provide me with details about her task's progress, I ask you all seek information from members of her team. Anyone who comes to me with details on Project Arbutus's current progress will be rewarded. Huh. Alright. 4 is his place, and then there's also a sub-level 5. Oh yeah. Okay, so I've read all this.
Claremonts were holding a painter here. Rudolph Lane. Does that ring a bell?
The shape of a man.
I think you are, or were, Rudolph Lane.
Himself, a self-portrait, make them see.
Look, I might be able to help you, but I need information, cooperation.
No brush, just himself.
I was reading chat.
Lane was dying. Both murderer and victim. Red hues ran down his hands. Was it scarlet or cadmium? Too vivid to be maroon. Names don't matter, he decided. Color was pure. Inspiring. For the first time in years, he wanted to paint. A self-portrait. To say goodbye. No. To make them remember. To make them see what they did. He slapped his hands against the wall to steady himself. He began from there. No brush, just himself. The strokes were crude, violent. The pain, misery, and hate he'd endured there. The fire in his eyes and hands and bones all spread into the shape of a man. It was quick. Natural. Like a heart attack. He slumped down to the floor, smiling at the anger he left smeared across the wall.
You missed the crazy girl? Who's the crazy girl? Everybody's a little crazy in this game. Oh, yeah. What? Oh, Rose.
4.
Wish the elevator would stop moving.
Shifting geometry bullshit. Nice.
Come on.
I heard that scream and I was like, switch to shotgun.
Okay, black rock powder.
Good,
Need
good.
to keep an eye out for more of these.
Diana Sattler.
Something in the well!
Detected measurements. Constructed an early warning system near Cauldron Lake. Exploring relationship between the shadow and sources of light. Research into threshold suppression techniques is ongoing with no clear determination. It's interesting that that mandate V29HED is Hedron, I bet.
Well, they're also saying this is like asphalt.
Yeah. Yeah, they were trying to, like, harness it.
Yeah.
All findings sent to Dr. Darling. 2017 has been a successful year with future promising breakthroughs predicted for 2018. Before Darling was lost in the lockdown of the oldest house, he tasked the lake house with discovering the nature of the shadow and its ability to convert art into reality. During our diligent research into this phenomena, it has become clear that Darling was not dreaming big enough, which led us to a new goal of the lake house and its talented staff to create a stable connection. Threshold travel has only been possible inside the oldest house and occasionally during AWEs, though this is often an involuntary process. The shadows known Attraction to art provides us a perfect opportunity to create the world's first controlled bridge between dimensions. A laboratory will be built on sublevel 5 where experimentation related to linking with the threshold will be performed. This location will take full advantage of our proximity to Cauldron Lake. In this laboratory, we will simultaneously develop machinery that can connect with the AWE site in the lake and use the art as a focal point to create the bridge. Precise methods are yet to be determined, though teams will soon be formed to explore the processes involving art as a dimensional anchor. They were both on board with this originally. Right.
September 13th, 2023. Notes regarding the concept of the tortured artist. A romanticized image of the sensitive artistic temperament, yes. But there may be truth in the cliche. It's no secret Rudolph Lane has been unhappy here for years. But the aggregate data shows his art's viability score trending upward over time. If Jules hadn't neglected to hold regular psychological exams, then we could have quantified the subject's emotional state, creating a sort of distress rating to compare against the art score. I'll make this a sub-goal of my study of Edward Booker. Once we set the variables and establish a control reading of his art and mental state, then we can begin inducing negative emotion. Limited food and water, perhaps. An increasingly tight living space. This is how Jules lost his subject, though. Need to be careful not to leave any sharp objects in Booker's cell.
Definition of art, a study by Diana. To truly comprehend the threshold within Cauldron Lake, we must first understand its attraction to art. However, even the definition of art is as varied as the range of crafts that fall under the name. To that end, we must open a track of research dedicated to defining and quantifying art, ultimately rendering the concept into a unit of measurement. To begin, let's not try to understand humanity's definition of art, but rather Cauldron Lake's preferences. Past cases of Cauldron Lake's threshold affecting reality have centered on writing, with Wake in 2010. Cinematography is also suspected, though not directly confirmed. Zane, 1970. What about other mediums? We will need to test the viability of painting, poetry, music, photography, sculpting, dance, and so on. Not to mention the myriad of genres or methods within each medium. And what about crafts outside of the most common artistic expressions? Does any act of creation on a high level of expertise merit the title of art? Baking, woodworking, etc.? What about non-physical mediums? Why is music an art and philosophy is not? Does something become art due to its medium, its quality, or perhaps simply through the intent of expression, or an equation made up of all three? What would be the order of importance? What thresholds must each factor reach for the equation to succeed? On the morning of Redacted, the musician held at Lake House for research purposes was discovered missing from her cell. Security footage of the cell from the night before was damaged by electrical interference of an undetermined nature. Redacted, known as professionally as Redacted, had produced a song called 60 Breaths during her time at the Lake House that was considered very promising as research material by the Marmots. The artist somehow used her song to orchestrate her escape. Efforts to find Redacted were brief, with any wider search considered an unacceptable risk to the Lake House's mandate of confidentiality. An investigation is currently ongoing whether any staff at the Lake House were involved in the disappearance of Redacted. An investigation is currently ongoing as to whether the subject used the song they created as a redacted means of escape. All material related to and work produced by Redacted will be stored in the archive for future reference. Online check for the public reappearance of Redacted are to be performed weekly. Known web addresses associated with Redacted in the past. Known addresses with para-utilitarian AWE activity. Yeah, that's about it.
The lake house was underwater. The Marmont's ambitions had finally been realized. Jules had dangled the painting like a lure and hooked an ocean. Their machines couldn't hold it. A fault in the system. The water rushed in, filled it until it was ready to burst. All their successes and failures had led them here. The work had made them into monsters. But the lake house was still theirs. It always would be. They could feel an outsider trespassing in their labs. "I know you're here," they called out to the dark. They hunted floor by floor. They wouldn't let the intruders stop their progress. This was their home, their beloved tomb beneath the waves.
Letter from Darling. Diana, I just received a letter from Darling about a request you made to bring in live subjects. What were you thinking? Do you know how that looks? What did he say? Was it approved? No, he refused. You know how protocol does not allow this sort of thing? And he says he will be making a trip to the lake house to check in on us soon, like we're children. This is very bad for our reputation, Diana. Please, if you have an idea, come to me first. Abandoned project. 6 months ago instead of 5 years ago. Considering the details on the new page we have found, I believe we need to abandon the research into Alan Wake's writing. We must not endanger our staff, Jules. Don't pretend like you're worried about them, Jules. You're just looking out for your own ass. The fact that the pages are detailing future events means they are the correct method. We have to learn how to harness their power and to dictate events to meet our goals, not Wake's, whatever those may be. The ATDs are producing better and better results. We just need to keep doing the work. No, Diana, I'm looking at the page right now. Constant imbalance, out of control, a crack in the lake house. If we continue with this research, we'll lose our facility. Perhaps more than that. What is the point of succeeding if we are dead? I'm the head of research here, and I forbid you from proceeding. That always works well when you tell your wife you forbid them. Hey, Mom, how are you? You can't forbid anything. You're not going to keep me from the most important work of my life. You're too much of a coward to keep pushing ahead. Then I'll finish what we set out to do here alone. We have plenty of ongoing lines of research. I suggest you pick one and leave Wake's writing to me. You always needed me more than I needed you. This is to Diana. Hello, Dr. Marmont. I received your formal complaint about Jules's behavior. You claim he's maliciously keeping research material away from your team, but he says they have simply been misplaced. I understand you are frustrated, but I recommend giving his team a week or so to find the pages and return them to your team. If this issue persists at the point, then let's discuss your desire to escalate the issue. Does that sound agreeable? Don't go that way.
More shifting. Great. Ooh, nice office.
So there's a light switch thing I need to flip over there. It'll turn this place back into a maze that I then have to find my way out of again.
Oh, I can't find the details anywhere. That bastard is hiding them. All those years, he steals credit from my ideas and my work, and now he's scared of being plagiarized? Oh, that is really fucking rich, Jules. Oh, and he's reportedly misplaced the manuscript pages I need for my work. Suddenly, the exact pages that I need to reference have just vanished. He is actively impeding critical bureau research. I mean, if he can do that, then what is stopping me from going down to that lab? And I don't know, just inverting the amplifiers or misaligning the receivers or both. It's the same thing in principle.
This doesn't look like Lane's style. A different artist.
Casper Darling to the Marmots, something to get you started. I couldn't stop thinking about the new direction for the lake house after I got back to New York. I hope pivoting to research Threshold's redacted reality manipulation effect wasn't too much of a shock for you. It seemed like your work on containment was stalling, so I decided you could use a fresh start. Here's something to get you started. Some drawings I made by a certain redacted a while back. Test for any reaction they may trigger with the shadow. Still don't know how unscientific that name is. You can designate an artist as P6 in your records. I expect regular updates. Go team!
The color was pure, the fire made them see!
Oh, Jesus. 1, 2, 3.
Sublevel 5.
Yes, T Talon. And then I'll go and look them up later if I'm interested in them. You can give me like a name and a basic description if you want. Say that?
He says, I do not want.
I do not want, yeah.
No.
Right.
The Marmots had opened the door into Cauldron Lake's threshold. It was forced, it was unstable. Shutting the experiment down was the only option. Typical fucking morons.
I'm Commander Shepard, and AwesomeMattG is my favorite streamer on television.
Threshold's about to fracture. Ugh, we should go. Like I needed more bones. Why did you idiots think this was a good idea? I don't have time for this. I need to shut down this threshold before it fractures.
Agent Estevez stood in the forest just outside of Bright Falls. She watched her team detain Alan Wake and Ilmo Koskinen, sweeping them into black SUVs. She realized this was the moment Wake had been writing in the vision she had seen. The story was coming true. She pushed the thought out of her head. It had been a good tip, a way to find Wake. Nothing more.
Alan Wake! After the threshold event collapsed, I was back at Cauldron Lake. But for a moment, I was somewhere else. I saw Alan Wake there. He was writing about me finding him in Bright Falls, in the woods. It was a good tip. I called the surviving members of my team, and I told them to meet me there. You know, these cases, They never get less ambiguous or easier. This one, this was tough. Because protocol says entities like the Taken are monsters, threats. But the Marmots were monsters way before the Shadow got to them. So at the end of the day, what's the difference? I gave Ed Booker a ride back to town, told him never breathe a word about this. I didn't even bother detaining him, bigger fish to fry. And, that's it. So if you were thinking, Jesus, this lady's an asshole. Well, now you know why. You've only seen one case like this. I've seen a career's worth. I was just trying to spare you the headache.
I feel like I've Got a Plan is going to continue the story, so I think I'm going to go switch over to Alan.
I'm gonna deal with the situation, Ilmo. But the town will need protection until we sort this out. I could use your help.
Right. Right. I'll round up the gang. Whoever's left. We won't let these fucking monsters hurt any more of our people. We'll do my brother proud.
Thank you, Ilmo.
Where was the save spot? Oh, it was in the room with them. Oh. Oh, it was this stairs. Oh no, this, oh, I went to the wrong place. I think I tried to go here. Let's go look.
You were the better Koska. Much better than me.
Is this just, oh, it's literally just junk that fell there. I thought it was intentionally blocking my way. Now I feel silly. That's weird. I could have sworn there was a mop bucket here at some point. Well. Yeah. Maybe it's like, no, you gotta progress this. I know the game will make me go and do the Alan Wake stuff eventually, so it's not a huge deal. I don't even need that. Alright, I guess we'll just progress then. Well, it doesn't seem to be stopping me so far.
It's empty. There's nothing there.
The lighthouse was in Watery?
But you know what? It'll be worth it.
All right. Straight ahead and then first left past the bridge. You're hella dark.
No.
Cappy might be the whitest person ever to live.
Yeah. I'm in the car.
Yeah, they put Cappy's picture in the dictionary next to white because the white sheet of paper isn't white enough. You know that Fanta Black or whatever that they invented that was really, really black? Cappy's the opposite of that. They had to invent a color to be able to print photographs of her. Bitch is white. I open it up and there's just a toad that says our princess is in another castle. And I'm like, what the fuck? Wrong game, dude. More inventory space.
Oh, heck yeah.
Don't need that. God, there's so much stuff.
Damn, there really is. It definitely feels like here's all the stuff before the final battle.
This has got to be an Ilmo idea.
Generators. Mirrors. Draw the light from the main light thing. Satellite dish. Shadow monster. Light ray 3000.
Yeah, so they totally still
Wants to turn the lighthouse into a weapon.
Yeah.
They're too old to fight monsters. The torchbearers are done. We need something new. Ilmo took a long drag from the joint and handed it to his brother. They'd been drinking and smoking all night. That thing from the lake was not a man, and the government's trying to hide it. Ilmo gestured at the files they had stolen from the research station. The strange seal with an upside-down pyramid. The Federal Bureau of Control. We need to keep the feds away. Deal with this our way. We need an army of our own. Yako smiled. He loved to watch his brother come up with his ideas. Ilmo's gaze swam. It was seeing double. The pyramid on the folder was a spruce tree. A tree, he thought. A fucking tree. It was a sign. We'll make the woods scary again. So fucking scary, no one will set foot in them at night. That's how we'll keep people safe. We'll be a legend. We are the cult of the tree, and we watch in the night. We're gonna need scary masks. Energized, Yako chugged a bottle of Ama beer in one go.
Hold on, I'll come back.
Ilmo Koskela had jolted awake from a nightmare. He was drenched in sweat. In the dream, he'd been covered in blood, gleefully murdering people, his friends. When his twin brother had tried to talk sense into him, he had murdered Yako as well. Ilmo slammed his fist into his temple so hard it hurt. The dream made him feel sick. The dark force of the lake was growing stronger. It was trying to make Ilmo and Yako something they were not. Trying to turn them into Ilmari and Yakapi Huatari from the early days of Watery. But they were the Koskela brothers. Their mother had not raised them to become murderers. They had backbone. They had honor. They had finished Zissou. Something bad was coming. The hidden device they had hooked to the FBC station had been intercepting alarms like crazy the past few days. Ilmo would make sure his cult was ready for war. Out in the night, the story seeking to give birth to an overlap in Watery drifted on, looking for another pair of men more prone to corruption.
Interesting.
That's only 5 of 6.
What? Dark force in the lake was growing stronger. It was trying to make Ilmo and Yako something they were not.
The dark presence leeches onto artists, manipulates their art. What power does it have by itself?
Cynthia loved Thomas Zane. Tom only had eyes for Barbara. They'd be together no matter... They'd be together now. She sank into the dark water. He'd been on the trail of the Rider forever, the Rider he despised. He'd be caught, murdered. He was reborn out of hate. Yeah. Elmet Wood had had enough. They reached at him with their hands. He beat them down, beat them until they no longer moved. Felt like he was drowning. With every cough, the black hole grew bigger. He imagined looking through it into darkness, into the whole black hole. A woman will find her corpse, but a secret like this doesn't die. It grew inside them, the darkness taking over.
The dark presence uses people's weaknesses to corrupt them. Their guilt, fear, even their love.